Hello, my friends. This is Joe. I haven't been here for a while. We've been on vacation, been doing some stuff, but we're back now. We're getting ready for the new year, and we'll make sure everything is okay here. The dogs are okay. Everything's put away, and we're ready to talk. Let's organize and organized, and we are ready for the new year. Happy New Year, my friends. This is the beginning of the new year for real estate. My name is Joe, P-A-D-O-V-I-C-H. I will be here about 15 to 20 minutes. We're going to talk about what's going on in the market right now. And sometime in the next couple of days, we're going to do a year-end report so we can figure out what's going on, what's happening in the market, and what we're looking for, and what's out there, what's going to happen, how Trump's tariffs are affecting or not affecting the real estate market, and other homeowner help. And remember, taxes, the big beautiful bill had some tax cuts, and we'll see what's happening with that. So what I want to talk about right now is the December market. Now, if you can see my screen here, this is my PWR. This is the market for December 2025. Now, what we're talking about here is this is for everywhere, okay, for the whole country. Now, some of the stuff is thrown in California stuff, but let's look at this stuff here. And now there are people on here, economists and really people are really good at this stuff. They can really break it down better than I can. But if you want to take a look here at this, if you could, at 4.13 million homes were on the market, okay? Now that's an increase. Not a lot, but 4.13 homes is a pretty good amount of homes. But the National Association of Realtors, NAR, we're all members of the NAR or OKR or whatever. OKR is there's California Association of Realtors. OCR is a Orange County Association of Realtors for it's a membership thing. And then we have the National Association of Realtors, which all of our agents are in, most of us are involved in. Now, here's what the thing about this is when we're looking at this. The numbers are here, okay? The numbers are going to go up, down. They're all going to trickle different ways. We're all going to see different things in the market. But what's consistent in the market? What's always consistent in the market? The fact that there's a percentage drop is going to be a buyer's market or a seller's market. So we're going to see that flip-flop here occasionally. But now look at the new listings dropped here, 23.5%. Okay? That's kind of tells you a story. Look at the condominium townhomes. Now, a lot of condominium townhomes are good, but the problem with those, you're going to find with HOA fees and stuff like that, people are going to kind of back away from those a little bit. But the thing about it is, look at the sales decrease 39% in the family homes. Now let's look at this here. You got December market, so we're looking at November, okay? And now it's January. Look at December. So in January, it's going to pick up a little bit. It's going to pick up a little bit. We're going to see a little bit of we're going to see a little bit of it being picked up. The market. It's going to be a little bit picked up because obviously in December we're not purchasing as much or selling as much in December, November as we would in the other months because obviously the holiday season and around the country winter season, stuff like this. So if you look at the listing decrease, it's not really that bad in the month because you'll go up and it'll be decreased not as much. Now let's look at the inventory in the townhomes. Okay, so the new listings have decreased 23.5%, but the inventory decreased 20%. So that 2.4%. Look at that 2.4%. It's got to tell you something here. That the inventory has decreased, and the new listings has decreased. Does that tell you that people are taking stuff off the market? Does that tell you that there's less people buying? There's less stuff out there, or there's more listings out there, vacant new homes, like brand new homes that we don't know that? Because remember, sometimes these builders that build homes, but they don't put them on the MLS. They do most of the time, but sometimes they don't. Okay, and don't forget the FOSB, for sale by owners, and stuff like this. But one of the important things is about this, what you're looking at, check and look at the price increase of 4.3% on average, okay, to $1,100,000 on a single family home on a median price decrease to 1 point in single family homes. Now, if they talk about the average, these homes here for 4.13 million homes on an average, or where they get this 1.1 million. We have to look at where that's coming from. What area is this coming from? How they calculate it in? Like, I'm not an economist, I don't know this stuff, some of it, but I'm telling you the numbers that I see here. Okay. Now, one of the important things is when you look at the numbers like this, how does the numbers affect you as a buyer or as a seller? When you look at this number and say, hey, Joe, we'll have a meeting, and I come over to your house, your business, wherever we meet at, and we're going to these numbers. Hey, Joe, there's 4.13 million homes in the market, and the consecutive month has been increases. Oh, wow. But the sales are down 1% the same year, so that's down a little bit. But the sales also rose month to month in the Northwest and South, and it's unchanged in the West. So we're in the West. Okay, so we're staying in the West. Okay? Now, sales were flat in the Northeast and fell both in the West and Midwest and the West. So what does this tell you about this here in the West, why its prices fall? Our sales were flat. Here's the thing, let me tell you something, guys. The fires that happened here a year or so ago really affected the real estate market. There's a lot of people here that unfortunately backed off. If you look at the U-Haul, if you go to uhaul.com and look at their truck rental, where they're going to and where they're coming from, most of these movements are going out of California into Texas, into Florida, and other states in Nevada. Okay, like I've talked about before, there are people moving into California, a pretty good amount of them, but a lot of them are here for work, jobs, and other things. They're not just coming out here to move out here to start a family. Some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. So we have to look at that. So that's kind of why the sales have been flat in the West. Okay. Now, I don't think about the Midwest really. I'm not in that market. I don't really know it that much. I could look it up, but I don't really know it that much. But that affects things because it really does hurt. It really does hurt in the state of California what happened in these fires here, and it really hurt. It really hurt the market to a point, and it really changed people's way of thinking. I mean, how can you have 12,000 homes plus burned down? And have a wildfire that just you can't put it out. I mean, how do you not put it out? You know, you can do all this different stuff. You go to the moon, you can do all this stuff, but how can you not put out these fires? And it really affected people, especially the mountain communities. Now, if you look at the mountain communities like Big Bear, things like that, that right there is going to affect people. It's going to affect how people think. It's going to affect how people analyze real estate. You know, because if you live in a forest, what's going to happen? Eventually, the forest is going to catch fire. Maybe it won't for 100 years. Maybe it will never catch fire, but eventually it will catch fire. Okay, so it's something to look at here. So that's what we're talking about. Why the sales were flat in these areas. Why the sales have dropped in the West partially. Plus, there's other things going on. You know, now interest rates have dropped. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, but when you look at the pending sales have decreased. Now, look at this. When you look at, we talked about this for a second ago, let's go over this again. When you look at new listings, have decreased 23.5%, but pending sales have decreased 39.7% and 53.5% of townhomes. What does that tell you? This tells me that there's something going on here. Okay? New listings decreased 23.5%. Pending sales are up 39. Okay, so we're looking at they're taking stuff off the market. They're lowering the price. They're not getting the connection they want with the customers. Okay, with the clients, they're not getting that because pending sales have decreased. But now, if you look on days on market, now I don't know if I have days on market. I have to double check this here. But here's the thing: is days on market is going to affect pending sales. Okay. Now, if you have pending sales decreasing 39% and 50% for townhomes, okay, and inventories decrease. See, you see all these decreases here, okay? Decrease in percentage, decrease in pending sales, decrease in pending sales on townhomes, and these are significant amounts. You got 50%, 40%. That's a significant numbers, okay? Now, but here's the thing here. This is important. If you look at the market here, median sale price decreased to 1.1 million for single-family homes and remained flat for condos. Okay, so when you're buying a home in Southern California, I'm assuming Southern California area, because I can't say that there's no way that 4.13 million homes on the market in the United States of America is going to average 1.1 million. That's not going to happen, especially in smaller towns and little. They don't have that. So what that number is coming from, I'm not sure exactly, but I know homes in California, in Orange County, California, and stuff like that, they're going to sell for $1 million, $800,000, $900,000, $100 million, $800,000. So how do you get the loans in order to qualify for these homes here? Okay. Give me 1 second here. So that's what the thing is. So if you look at these decreases, these decrease in percentages of pending sales, decrease in percentage sale of now, like I just said, pending sales and inventory. All this is coming down to what? What thing are they coming down with? 1.1 million here, average. Okay. How do people qualify for these? Remember, the new laws coming out because there's all this stuff going on a couple of years ago on the thing about real estate is what? People not qualifying homes. How are they going to get it? Now, you can do a 3.5% or whatever it is on $1 million. I'm not sure the exact amount because they might have changed it again on FHA loans. I think it's 1.5, 1.7 million. It could be a little lower around there. But you're going to have PMI, that's private mortgage insurance. You have property taxes, and you're going to have insurance and the PMI and the mortgage. So just because you can get it for 3.5%, what is your monthly payment going to be? So the thing about this is a percentage decrease and the days on market and all these decreases here, it comes to one thing, affordability. Can people afford to buy these homes? Can they afford to get into the home, much less pay the monthly payment? Okay. Now, when you look at all these numbers here, it tells you one thing. There's a lot of inventory out there. There's a lot of sellers out there. There's a good amount of buyers out there, but there's a lot of buyers out there that can't qualify for the home, or they have a hard time qualifying, or they have to get gift loans or whatever, or find scenarios to get into the property. So now, okay, so we just went here. Remember talking about that? I said, okay, now with the bottom line here. So the average home rises 409,000. Okay, according to National Association of Realtors. Okay. Now here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Okay. the 29th consecutive monthly gain on home values. Because that's where people have their money at, in their house. Their house is their bank, is their livelihood. Okay? And the good thing about that is they're doing stuff in government right now to protect their home equity. But we have to find ways for people that don't have homes, that can never buy a home, and they live in an apartment, and they're like 70, 65, 62, 59, 50 years old, getting ready to retire, and they don't have a retirement income other than their pension or their Social Security, and they live in an apartment. Some people are cool with that. They want to live in an apartment. So you have to help these people out, build up equity. Now, one of the things we're talking about here, now we're going to go down here. Let me see. Okay, we can go by zip code. Okay. Now, so remember, real estate is a numbers game. Okay. You know, just like your cap rate when you want to buy a business and use your home, or like apartment complex and buy a apartment complex. And what's the cap rate? That means the cap rate is how much you're going to clear every month after the mortgage is paid, you know, stuff like this. But as an investor, you're not interested in making a profit on the property a month. Maybe clear like $100 a month on each unit or something like that for expenses. But you want the equity. You want the equity on it. One more thing I want to talk about that's really important here when it comes to market updates. Now let's just pick up a let's just go to a city here. Let's go to city of, okay, let's go click on Alicia Viejo on the top. Okay, now what this is, okay, Alicia Viejo, if you don't know, obviously is in Orange County, California. It's down south, south by the Costa de Casa, stuff that way. Now look, okay, so here we're doing here. Now let's look at let's look at Alicia Viejo we're talking about here and compare it to this list we talked about. This is just for the January 2025. Now, in 2024, there's 8 listings. Now there's 7. Look at the difference here. Pending sales are 8 in January 2024. Now there's 2. Closed sales 9 versus 5. Days on market. Days on market. Look at 37 and 20. Look at that. You see the difference there? So less houses are selling, but there are less days on the market because the people right there are getting qualified. Okay. Median sales price went up a little bit. Average sales price dropped. Okay. So you know the difference between medium and average. Okay. Now, average sales price is everything. Medium is like picking certain aspects of housing and put them together. Okay. Percent of original list price versus receipt. Okay, so you see these markets here. Now look at the okay, now let's look at this here. Continue to look at this, the dips and stuff. Now let's look at here the last 12 months from January 24 to 125. Okay, not too bad. 140 new listings. Pending sales, not too bad. Same. Price is the same. But so let's look at this here. This is like really interesting. Remember we talked about in the months of I would say November, December, October to a point because of Halloween, but November, December, it's slow. So what happens is in January, it's still kind of slow because you got the Martin Luther King holiday. People are just coming off Christmas. The first 2 weeks of the month, people are like really force themselves to get back to work because 4th of July is over. The college football championships are over. The football playoffs are going on. Like I just said, Christmas is the first of the year and all that stuff. Then you got the middle of the month, you have Martin Luther King birthday, another holiday. So you go that 2 weeks right there. Then you go, oh my God, another holiday. Okay. Then you got into then you get into the back end of January, the second week of January. That's right there is people kind of get back to work. You got a 4-day work week this week, and they're getting back into it. And then by the end of the month, it's full-fledged back to work, full-fledged working, and then 2 weeks after that you got Valentine's Day, and that slows it down a little bit more there. And so it takes a little while to build things up. So if you look at here from January 2020, if you look at January 24 here, go 12 months, the numbers are staying even. Look at the numbers compared to here on January 2024 and January 25 in the month of January. Okay? But look at the 12 months here. Down 2.9%. Okay, the sales, pending sales is down 10%. That's okay. The days on market, look at that. How it dropped here a little bit, but 19, that's not really that much. Okay. Look at the average sale price. It went up. Okay. But it's kind of stagnant. It's kind of thin. Because if you look at these here, if you look at these here on January 2024 and January 2025, you're going to see this a lot here. You're going to see the closed sales. Look at the percentage here, 75%, 44%, 45%, 20%, 66%. Okay? Now, look at condominiums. Okay? Look at the listings of condominiums. Closed sales in condominiums. Okay? Average price on condos. And so now let's do this one more, and like I want to show you guys. Let's pick one more. Let's go to over here. Let's talk about Orange County. Let's go to the city of Norwalk. Let's go to LA County, Norwalk. Okay, now look at remember the prices in Alicia Viejo. They're $1 million high. Look at the difference in prices. But look at the new listings here. See the pending sales here. See, this comes down to affordability. Okay, this comes down to affordability. I'll be able to get the loans. Okay, so now what I'm telling you about when I'm looking at these things here, look at the markets, look at the 12 sale, look at the price increases, look at the values. So this is telling you that people are having issues qualifying for loans. Okay, but when they do qualify for loans, they're able to purchase a home because the home isn't on the market too much longer. It's not on the market that long. So you're able to purchase a home reasonably quickly. But you got to be in the right area. You got to make sure you qualify. So if you're in Orange County, you're not qualifying for $1 million home. Okay? I'm not saying you know what I mean. If you're not qualified, you're going to go to Norwalk, someplace else where you can get qualified. Because look at the percentages here versus Alicia Viejo. You see the difference? More people here are qualifying. People over there in Orange County, Alicia Viejo, are having a tough time to qualify for the loan. So what that tells you is when you're purchasing a home or selling a home, actually even selling it, but obviously you're buying a home, so you got to go to where the money is, where you can afford it. Okay, if you can only afford a $20,000 car, okay, you're not going to go to the Beamer dealership and look for a $65,000 vehicle when you can only afford $20,000. You're not going to do that. Okay, same thing with real estate. Hey man, I can afford to pay $795,000 for a house. That's what my bank says they're going to borrow. So if you can afford to buy a $795,000 house, you're not going to go to Alicia Viejo or Orange County or Los Angeles or Bel Air or one of these areas to try to find a home for that amount of money because you're not going to be able to afford it. So you're going to go to the area where you can afford it. As a seller's supposed to know that too. Hey, if my home was worth $900,000, okay, and the average income in my area is $75,000 with expenses. Okay, so in other words, a person can afford to pay they can afford to pay $850 for the house. So in other words, if you lower the price to $850, okay, selling your house, you're going to have more buyers come into your house because guess what? Those buyers can afford your house because you have the price at their level of their income of the area. Okay? Now we have people up here making a lot of money, people down here making average money, people up here making no money. But when you're buying and selling real estate, you want to be able to what? attract your buyers and your sellers. So in other words, my name is Joe Babich. You want to have a meeting? Fred? Hey, Fred, my name is Joe. Hey, all right, Joe, I want to sell my house for $955,000. That's what the CMA came out. I go, yeah, sure, okay, let's look at that. Oh, and by the way, the average income out here is $75,000 a year. With a $75,000 a year minus the expense, all that stuff, average, people can afford a $860,000 house. But you want $950. Okay. I don't tell you what to listen for. I give you the numbers and I tell you and show you the numbers, how this house is going to sell, how much will sell, and what it might or might not get in the market. So in other words, if you go from 900, okay, so what is your goal? You want to buy a new house. Okay, perfect. Okay, you need that 950. So we have to stick with that 950 because you're buying another house. Oh, you have $420,000 in equity. You're buying a house and you're going to retire and move into a apartment someplace or whatever. So you don't need 430,000. You need like 300,000 or whatever. A little bit less. Oh, how fast do you want to sell your house? Oh, you're being transferred. How fast do you want to sell it? These are the questions we're going to ask. How fast do you want to sell your house? How motivated are you to sell your house? This is what we're talking about here. Your house is going to be selling at $950, what it's worth on the CMA, and what it shows it calculates it at $950. But the people living within a say 30, say within a 2-3 mile radius, the average income is $75,000 to $80,000 a year, except for some exceptions that go higher, obviously, or lower. But we're going to go on the average. Other $80,000 a year. They can afford to buy an $850,000 house or $870,000, $880,000 house. They can't qualify for that amount. So if you drop the house down from 950 to 900 or 890, you'll sell the house quicker. Okay, and maybe you'll get some deal and make some extra, whatever. You can do whatever. The 50,000, you're not losing the 50,000 because you're selling your house and you're doing what you want to do. But that's something to look at. That's how we talk about these inventory here. That's how we talk about how to get somebody. Hey, Joe, this house sold for 760,000. Oh, okay, that's okay. And 750, so drop 10,000 here. See if you look through here, January 25, that's 750. Okay, so drop 10,000. Now the last 12 months in condos is 600. It went up a little bit. Okay, because it's less qualified to get into a condo than it is to a house. Okay. But condos you have to pay HOA fees, and you have to pay assessment fees possibly. There might be liens on the property where you have to do like master builds or whatever and replace and repaint. So this is lower, but you got to add on the homeowner association. Now, one other important thing I want to close up with this in a couple of minutes is understand your market. Okay. Now let's go back here. Okay. Understand the market. These numbers here are for real estate agents or for economists and all these other things. But when you look at home values are increasing. So if your home value is increasing, that means you buy a house for investment. Okay? When you buy a house for investment, what that does is that it helps you with your investment for your family and yourself. Okay? Now, I don't tell you how to buy a house or how to hold it. That's up to you and your lawyer or your family. But obviously, real estate does gain value unless you're living in an area where your insurance is so expensive it defeats the purpose of buying a property. If you're going to go up to the mountains right now and buy a house on the mountain, how much is that insurance going to cost you a month? It's going to eat away at your equity. Here, let me give you an example before we close off this report, market conditions today. What's the important thing here to look at? When you're looking at a community, a property, or wherever you're at, and you're going to see numbers. You're going to see numbers and look at numbers. But it's not about the numbers too. It's about where you want to be. If you, so in other words, I've seen properties listed next to industrial buildings. I've seen properties listed next to parks or schools or whatever. Okay, you want to live by a school? Remember that episode of King of Queens you ever watched it, where Doug and Carrie buy a house, and they live right next to the school, and they probably had to sell the property and get to the house they have now. But the thing about it is like when you buy a house, you have to like, oh, I love that. Not buy the house because of price, man. You buy a house because you want to be there. Okay, like you want to live on the beach, the beachfront property. So that's beautiful. That's wonderful. But then you say, oh wow, I'm gonna be here 10 years down the line. I'm still looking at that same water for 10 years. I don't know about that. Maybe I just want to go there to the beach and look at the beach, but I want to live on the beach. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about. Hey man, my name is JoePadovich. Love talking, you guys. I'm always here at 949-439-0383. And if you have any questions or anything for me, please let me assist you with that. And I will talk to you later. Have a great day. And I will speak to you later. Thank you very much. And don't forget, be true to yourself and others. Thank you.